Hello, guys, and today we'll talk about Sonic 3's Tomato Meter. And I was very shocked to see this, but not surprised, because when we look at the earlier Tomato Meter, most of the reviews looked, before they didn't have an actual score. But when we looked at the earlier one, there were, it was 19 out of, 26 scores, and they go by a percentage of positive and negative reviews. So, this is surprising. Sonic 3 has an 88% tomato meter, which you'd think would not happen because, it's a video game movie. And also, Sonic is kind of allergic to getting good scores by critics in general, okay? Look at the reviews of games like Sonic Forces, Sonic Frontiers even, Sonic Generations, Sonic, even it goes as back as Sonic Adventure. But it seems that the majority of critics agreed that the Sonic 3 is a good movie. Sonic returns big 3 in the holiday season. But yeah, it seems that, this movie is a good movie. Yeah. And, the real stars of the movie are the hedgehogs, obviously, and Knuckles. Okay, Knuckles, Tails, and the two hedgehogs, obviously. And I'm actually kind of shocked this movie has such a high score. Like, there were actually people betting how high the score would be. That they were betting it would be over 75%. I don't think the score is going to stay, okay, at 88% because it's only 41 reviews. Usually Rotten Tomato scores have at least, far more scores than 74, obviously. Yeah. But it is kind of surprising that this movie has such a high score by such an establishment site because, the establishment movie rating sites always go against the audience scores. They always do not like the fact that people actually like movies like Godzilla or Sonic or the Mario movie. Despite those movies making billions of dollars, IMDb, of course, doesn't like him. That's mostly establishment movie critics, Like, for example, let's remember the FNAF movie. That's a movie that, I think was very negatively impacted by the IMDb score because a lot of people still trust IMDb, but the movie wasn't even out yet, and it had a 5.2 on IMDb. How is that fair? I don't really care for the FNAF movie that much. I watched it, I didn't care for it that much. But how is that fair to FNAF movie or FNAF fans? Okay, when the score is predetermined before the movie comes out. Okay, that's why I don't like IMDb. For example, Moana 2, I've heard tons of people saying the movie is just mid or mixed or bad, but it has a 7.1 on IMDb. It was already predetermined before the movie comes out, which is why I don't like IMDb that much, okay, anymore. I used to trust them, but not anymore, because they predetermined the scores. I bet Sonic 3's score will be predetermined as well, yeah, which will be pretty sad because this movie has a pretty high score. I do think all the Sonic movies sort of had a higher score, to be honest. Okay, like all three of them sort of had a higher score, but at least the fun realizing these movies are actually not bad, and it took them 3 movies to realize that. But again, Sonic 3 doesn't have the Disney privilege, okay, that Disney movies get because guess what? Black Panther has a 96%, and what reason does Black Panther deserve to get a 96%? It's a bad movie. Okay, I don't, so I know critics were afraid to give the movie less than a 10 out of 10 because it would be, if you didn't like Black Panther, you were a racist, okay, or something like that. But, or the fact that they gave Captain Marvel like a 78% when most people didn't like that movie, and IMDb also did the same thing with Captain Marvel. And the most ridiculous one yet was the Little Mermaid remake that no one liked. Yeah, I keep forgetting that movie existed, but the Little Mermaid remake had the Rotten Tomatoes score actually wasn't that impressive, but the IMDb tried to make sure that the movie didn't have a bad score because it would impact, because Disney knows that these scores impact the box office, okay? That's what Disney pays critics, basically, which they do it by basically, withholding stuff if you give a movie a bad score. They did this with Moana too, they're doing this with Mufasa. They'll give, for all these smaller sites, all these smaller critics, the bigger critics, they can just fall around the race, but all the smaller critics, all the smaller creators, they don't want to lose their access to Disney. That's why Disney movies, get the Disney privilege or the Disney bonus, okay? Which is fine that they claim that Nintendo does it, but not Disney. Disney, the happiest place on earth, you know, really is not a very trustworthy site. No, not a trustworthy company. They're not really the happiest place on earth, just telling you. But Sonic the Hedgehog is returning, obviously, in 2 days. The movie is coming out. But it seems that Rotten Tomatoes all agrees that this movie is a good movie. It might even become certified fresh. It will be a first in history for a video game movie to earn that title, if it's true. Okay? Well, I think certified fresh you need to have like 90% plus. No, I think it's 70% plus for a major movie as well. But this means Sonic 3 will likely be among the greatest movies of the year. And we don't know if the score will go up or down. But it's on par with movies like Deadpool and Wolverine, which has... Actually, it's Deadpool and Wolverine certified first at 78%. That means this movie is considered better than Deadpool and Wolverine, which is pretty funny, because that was a billion-dollar grossing movie. But Sonic 3 has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is something unprecedented in the franchise. Heck, even Sonic XL Generations had good scores by the critics. I think, are we wondering, are we seeing a resurgence of the Blue Burr back into the mainstream public? Okay. The fact that a Sonic movie, which is, Sonic is a franchise that critics do not like. Okay. Let me make this clear. Sonic is a franchise critics do not like. Despite this, the movie has a 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, this is a franchise. Okay, that historically critics didn't like. Okay, we'll get the reviews of games like Sonic Forces, Sonic Frontier, even Sonic Frontier, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Okay, and even games like Sonic Unleashed and Sonic Colors and all the Sonic games. Okay, like Sonic Forces, it kind of did deserve that low score, but most Sonic games like Sonic Superstars was the last one. Critics didn't like that one either. Sonic Superstars was kind of underwhelming, but this year was a pretty good year for Sonic as a whole. Okay, there's really nothing else to say about it. A really good year for Sonic as a whole, and that's what this video here. And goodbye.